Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Gentle Yoga. Let's come into some kind of comfortable position. So you might come into what's called constructive rest pose. And for this, you're going to lie on your back with your knees tented together. So it'll look like this. And if you did want to do like a little bit of heart opening while you're laying in this position, you could roll up like the edge of your mat or a blanket and place that right underneath your heart. And that might look like this. Ooh, it feels good. If you'd like, you could also just come into a seat. I'm going to just start us out with a little reading. So I've been reading this book. I don't know if you can see it, but it's called The Yamas and the Niyamas, Exploring Yoga's Ethical Practice. And this is by Deborah Adele. So this month we've been talking about Ahimsa, which is nonviolence. So as you come into your restful position, you might close down the eyes. Just allow yourself to fully relax and arrive in this moment. And you can either focus your attention on areas of the body that are calling for you, or you might just listen to the words and see how they land with you. And this says, our ability to be nonviolent to others is directly related to our ability to be nonviolent within ourselves. Our inner strength and character determine our ability to be a person of peace at home and in the world. We can grow our capacity to be nonviolent by learning how to move through everyday challenges of life and by addressing the things that precipitate our tendencies towards violence. Ahimsa, nonviolence, to do no harm, calls forth from us our most brilliant and best self. Our capacity to be nonviolent depends on our proactive practice of courage, balance, love of self, and compassion for others. So today I want to focus on the self-love piece. So I'm just going to read a little bit about that. Our ability to stay balanced and courageous has much to do with how we feel about ourselves. How we treat ourselves is in truth how we treat those around us. We will express that love for others by treating them the same way we treat ourselves. Love lies at the core of nonviolence and begins with our own self-love. A love that is forgiving and lenient, a love that sees the humor in the imperfections and accepts the fullness of human expression. When we find this love for all the parts of ourselves, we will begin to express fully the love that wells up inside of us for others. Finding this love for all the parts of ourselves means we have to forgive ourselves. Love creates expansion and nonviolence and the true safety that we seek. Nonviolence is woven with love, and love of other is woven with love of self. So with that, you might just come up with an intention, maybe a mantra, something that you can come back to throughout practice. Maybe you have the mantra, I am complete. And just start to notice today and this week how much pleasure, kindness, and patience you can allow for yourself. If that mantra doesn't speak to you or you'd like to come up with a different one for yourself, just go ahead and bring that to mind right now. And then if you're laying on the blanket roll or you have the mat rolled up, you can just go ahead and move it out of the way and we'll all meet up in constructive rest pose. You might bring your hands to your belly and just start to tune into your breath, allowing your shoulders to melt away from the ears. You might bring your hands onto your belly and just sense the rise and fall of your breath. Are there areas of the body that are asking for your attention, your kindness, and your compassion? And then we'll extend our arms out wide to the side, and with your feet as wide as the mat, you can allow the knees to float over to the left. You might turn your gaze over to the right. And on the next inhale, float the knees and nose back up to center. And then exhale, allow the knees to fall over to the right and allow the gaze to fall over to the left. Inhaling, we'll come back to center. And then exhaling, you can allow yourself to switch sides, just allowing the knees to windshield wiper from side to side, following the pace of your own breath. No need to rush. No need to compare your experience to anyone else's. Just allow yourself to tune into your body in this moment. You can go ahead and take one more round on each side. And then after your last round, let's come back to center. And you can walk your heels in and maybe draw your knees up into your chest, giving yourself a nice big hug. You might stretch your nose towards your knees and gently rock a little side to side, stretching through the upper back. And then when you're ready, you can gently lay your head back down. We'll release the backs of your thighs or your shins and then extend your arms wide to the side. And with the feet off the ground, we're going to bring the knees over to the right and just allow them to hover. Inhale back to center, and using the strength of your core, you can bring the knees over to the left and allow them to hover. And just gently rocking side to side. If you'd like to make this movement a little more challenging for your core, you can bring your arms to cross over your chest, or you might even kick your top leg long. So as your knees come over to the left, you might kick your right leg long. Just taking a few more rounds at your own pace, moving in your own time and in your own way. And if you find that your thoughts are getting busy, coming to either the future or the past, you might just come back to your intention for your practice and your mantra. And let's take one more round on each side. And as soon as you feel complete from left to right, you can go ahead and allow the knees to settle down to the ground on the right side. Extend your arms into a letter T. With the next inhale, we'll bring the left arm up, rainbowing it over towards the right. And then you can reach the fingertips past the right fingertips and then swivel the left arm up and overhead, And come back into your twist. Let's do that 3 more times. So on your next inhale, you can sweep the left arm up and over, reaching it and closing it towards the right fingertips. And then on your next inhale, sweep the left arm up overhead. And just do 2 more rounds on this side at your own pace. You might follow the fingertips with your gaze. And after your last round, go ahead and bring the knees back up into your chest. You can wrap your hands around your thighs or your shins and gently rock from side to side, massaging the spine. And this time we'll float the knees over to the left. You can allow them to land on the ground, reaching the arms out side to side, and sending the gaze over towards the right fingertips. With your next inhale, go ahead and reach the right fingertips up towards the sky. And then you can close the fingertips down towards the left hand. Inhale, sweep the right arm overhead and extend back into your twist. And go ahead and do this motion 3 more times at your own pace. Just noticing the sensations as they arise. Tuning into your breath. Maybe following your gaze or your fingertips with your gaze. After your last round, you're welcome to relax into the twist, sending the gaze over towards the right fingertips. And then we'll bring it back to center, float the knees up into the chest, and then again, rolling your nose up towards your knees, coming into a little ball. And exhale, gently lowering the head back down. We're going to come into a dead bug position, so upside down tabletop. So let's have the knees bent with the shins parallel to the ceiling. And then you can bend the elbows, imagining your forearms are pressing against the ceiling. Use the strength of your core to lower the low back towards the mat, drawing the belly button towards the spine. You can stay just like this, or if you'd like to invite a little movement, on your next inhale, go ahead and stretch your left heel up towards the sky, lengthening your left leg. You can reach your right fingertips up towards the sky, extending the elbow straight. Go ahead and inhale and exhale, come back to center, and then we'll switch sides, extending the right foot and the left arm. Exhale, coming back to center, and inhale to switch sides again. Go ahead and follow the pace of your own breath. And just take this movement a little side to side. Feeling the engagement of your core. You can take 1 more round on each side. And then you go ahead and lower the feet down to the mat. Bring the arms right next to your sides, next to your hips. And you can walk the heels in towards the sit bones. On the next inhale, we'll sweep the arms up overhead, reaching them past the ears. Exhale, lower the arms back down to your sides. And then on the next inhale, you might press the palms down as you gently lift the hips, pointing the hip points up towards the sky for bridge. Exhale, lower the spine back down, one vertebrae at a time. Let's inhale, lifting the arms up past the ears, stretching through the shoulders. And exhale, lower the hands back down. Inhale, switching to bridge. Inhaling to lift the hips. And exhale to gently lower back down. Go ahead and take 2 more rounds at your own pace, alternating the arms. And exhaling to lower. Inhaling, lifting the hips, strengthening through the thighs and the glutes. Exhaling to lower. And one last time like this. On your last bridge, as you lift the hips, you might shimmy the shoulders under the body, interlacing the hands behind the low back. Maybe you hold this bridge for a few rounds of breath. You might drag the heels back towards the hands, engaging with the muscles of the legs and the glutes. And whenever you're ready, on your next exhale, release the hands and roll the spine back down, one vertebrae at a time. Let's shift the hips over to the left, rolling over to the right side. You can gently press yourself up into a seat. And we'll come to either a cross-legged position, or if it feels better, you could extend the legs long. If you have that blanket close by, you might like a little extra lift. That can help lengthen the spine. So if you have a blanket roll, you might just shimmy it right to the edge underneath your sit bones. Let's just come to a seat, lengthening the spine, tucking the chin gently towards the heart. And with your next exhale, you might gently allow the right ear to fall over to the right shoulder, finding length through the left side of the neck. Imagine you could send your breath cascading down the left side of the neck, and then gently shake your head no, and nod your head yes. And with your next exhale, you can come back to stillness and then allow the chin to trace the front of the chest, slowly and gently bringing the left ear over towards the left shoulder. Lengthening through the spine and finding a gentle stretch through the right side of the neck. Once more, you might shake your head no, releasing that which does not serve you. And nod your head yes, inviting in new opportunities and possibilities. And then once more, we'll bring the chin towards the chest and just bow the head towards the heart. You might invite the hands to meet at the heart center, allowing the head to bow towards the wisdom of the heart. And then on your next inhale, you can lift your gaze. We'll inhale to reach the arms up overhead. And then exhale, bring the right hand down to the mat. Sweep the left arm up and over. You might lift your gaze up towards the lifted hand. And with your next exhale, go ahead and sweep the left hand down towards the ground. Inhale it back up and over. Exhale to sweep it down. And inhale to reach it up and over. And once more, just like this. On the next inhale, we'll rise to center, reaching both arms up towards the sky. You can look up. And then exhale, let's switch sides, bringing the left hand down to the ground, sweeping the right fingertips up and over. You might lift your gaze up towards the sky if that feels okay for the neck. And then on the next exhale, allow the right fingers to sweep down towards the ground. Inhale to sweep it back up and over. We'll do 2 more times in this direction. And you might follow the fingertips with your gaze, finding a little mobility and stretch for the neck. And after your last round, let's come back to center, reaching the arms back up overhead. You can interlace the fingers and press the palms up towards the sky. On the next exhale, allow the hands to gently fall down in front. Slowly, maybe even 10% slower. Just experiencing all the different movements of the shoulders. Once you arrive with your hands in your lap, let's reverse the cross of our ankles. And then we'll come back to seated. Inhale, roll the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, allow them to fall down the spine. Inhale to roll them up. Exhale, roll them back and down. Let's go ahead and go at your own pace. You might begin to toggle one shoulder at a time. And if you feel some snap, crackle, pop, send breath and gratitude towards the shoulders and all they do for you. When you're ready, we'll reverse the direction of our toggle, moving one shoulder up towards the ear. Exhale, bring it down and around. And then let's sync up the direction of the shoulders. So drawing the shoulder blades together, you can bring the shoulders up towards the ears and exhale, round them down and front. Let's do 2 more shoulder rolls like this. And on the next exhale, you can roll the shoulders down and come back to neutral. We're going to be doing some cat and cows. So if it's hard for you to be on your hands and knees, you're welcome to stay in a seated position. If you'd like to be on hands and knees, you might even use your blanket roll to pad underneath your knees. So just rolling over onto hands and knees. Well, I'm going to unfold my blanket to just make an extra pad for my knees. And then plant your palms underneath your shoulders. You might tuck the toes under or have the tops of the feet touching the mat, whichever is most comfortable for you. And on the next inhale, you can drop the belly. Exhale, round into the spine. Inhale, lower the belly, lift the heart for cow pose. Exhale, round the spine, drawing the belly towards the spine for cat. If this feels uncomfortable on your wrists, you can always come up onto fists, or sometimes I like to practice with my forearms on blocks or even on the ground. So just take a few more rounds of cat and cow, following the pace of your own breath. You might like to explore some organic movements here, maybe drawing a big circle with the belly button. Imagining you're tracing the inside of a hula hoop. And if you're drawing a circle with the belly button, when you're ready, you can reverse the direction of that circle. You might take a moment to just admire and send gratitude for this amazing spine that holds you upright. And just notice this incredible design and all the different movements the spine can make. And we'll come back to center in a neutral spine. And if you're in a seat, you can go ahead and join us in tabletop. We're going to find child's pose. So bring the big toes to touch, open the knees up wide. You can sink the hips back and then walk the hands out in front. If your forehead doesn't quite reach the mat, you could bring a block underneath the forehead to rest, or you could stack the palms, maybe even stack the fists to rest the forehead. Take a nice big inhale and maybe sigh out the mouth for lion's breath, releasing any tension or holding. And then when you're ready, we'll take a side bend here so you can walk the hands over to the right, reaching the left arm long. You might bring the gaze underneath the right shoulder. Imagining the breath is cascading down the left side from the fingertips all the way to the base of the left hip. You can take one more nice deep breath there. And then when you're ready, we'll walk the hands over to the left, reaching the right arm away from the right hip, maybe sending the gaze underneath the left shoulder. When you're ready, taking one more nice deep breath on this side, we'll come back to center. Take one more nice deep breath in child's pose, and then we'll come up into hands and knees. And you can leave your knees a little wide, like child's pose. And then planting the right hand, let's reach the left arm up towards the sky. And you might send your gaze up towards the sky, looking at your fingers. And with your next exhale, we're going to thread the needle. So bringing the left hand underneath the body. And you can come onto the left temple and maybe supporting your weight with your right hand. And if you'd like to deepen the stretch, you might walk your right fingertips out in front like child's pose. Or you could spin that right hand around and allow it to gently rest at your low back. Take a nice deep breath, noticing where you can balance your effort with your ease. And then if your hand is resting on your low back, with your next exhale, you can bring that right hand back down, pressing it underneath the shoulder. We'll press into the mat and inhale to open the left arm back up to the sky. With your next exhale, let's switch sides, planting the left palm underneath the shoulder. You can inhale the right arm up towards the sky, opening the heart. And when you're ready, we'll exhale to thread the needle, bringing the right arm underneath the body, landing on the shoulder, allowing the temple to rest. And from here, you could walk the left hand out in front like child's pose, or you might spin it around and allow the back of the left hand to rest at the low back. Or maybe reach for the right thigh. Take a nice deep breath here. You might notice subtle variations from left to right. With your next exhale, we'll bring the left palm back underneath the shoulder, pressing into the mat. You can lift up and open through the right side, lifting your right fingertips up towards the sky. And then exhale to release that hand back down. Let's come onto our forearms next, so you can move your knees back underneath the hips. And from here, you can press your palms down and your forearms are pressing against the mat, or you can interlace your hands. We're going to slide the left leg back, straightening the legs, tucking the toes under. So your heel is pressing back towards the mat. You're finding some length through the back of the leg. So you might feel a nice stretch through the calf. Take a nice deep breath, allowing the breath to cascade down the back of the leg. And then we'll switch sides. Doesn't matter which side you're on. Just bring the left knee back, stretch the right leg long. And then from here, we're going to try a forearm plank. So there's going to be a couple different variations. You can leave your right leg back and then lift your left knee, sliding the left leg back to come into a forearm plank. If it's too intense, you could always drop the knees down to the mat, finding some engagement through the core, drawing the belly button towards the spine, and not collapsing in the shoulders. Take a few nice steady breaths here in your forearm plank. And whenever you feel ready, you can release yourself down to the mat, coming onto the belly. Let's bring the hands underneath the shoulders. And then you can lift the heart for a baby cobra. On the next exhale, go ahead and bring the right ear towards the mat. And I like to tuck my toes under and slide my chest a little bit forward in order for my temple to reach the mat. And then go ahead and untuck the toes, soften onto your belly. With your next inhale, we'll come into locust pose. So lifting the heart, lifting the arms, lifting the feet. Keeping a soft gaze for length through the back of the neck. Imagining you're a flying superhero. With your next exhale, we'll turn the gaze to the right, soften all effort, bringing the left temple to the mat, releasing and relaxing down, feeling the earth rise to support you. And if you'd like to try for bow pose, you might bend the knees and kick the heels towards the sit bones. On the next inhale, we'll rise through center, bringing the gaze right down below the tip of the nose. You might reach for one ankle or both ankles. And begin to kick the feet into the hands, flexing the toes towards the knees. You can also do locust pose once more, or try this without the hands around the ankles. Whenever you're ready, you can soften your effort, and we'll stack the hands to make a little pillow to rest the forehead. And this pose is called crocodile pose. And it's great for anytime you might be feeling anxiety. You might find this pose and just send the breath through the back of the body. Our seat of self-care. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and bring the palms underneath the shoulders. We'll tuck the toes under and press up through table or plank. And then you're welcome to find a downward facing dog. Or, of course, if you'd like to skip down dog, you're welcome to do that too. So we're going to tuck the toes under and lift the knees, sending the hip points facing the back wall. You might take a moment in this downward dog to pedal the heels from side to side, sashaying the hips a little. If this is hard on your wrists, another variation would be dolphin pose. And I'll demonstrate that now. So if you're interested in dolphin, you can come back to hands and knees. And this is just like downward dog, but on your forearms. So you'd press your forearms against the mat or interlace your fingers, tuck the toes under, and press the hips up and back. Wherever you're at, we're going to come into a forward fold. So you can walk or hop yourself there, moving in whichever way feels best for you. Once you're in your forward fold, go ahead and wrap your hands around your opposite elbows and allow yourself to ragdoll from side to side. You might shake your head no and nod your head yes. And then we'll release the hands down. You can either bring the hands to the shins or the thighs, or maybe to the tops of your blocks. Let's inhale for halfway lift, straightening the spine, reaching the crown of the head forward, keeping a soft, gentle gaze. And then exhale to forward fold. One more time, inhale for halfway lift. And exhale to forward fold. And then on the next inhale, you can bend the knees and roll the spine up one vertebrae at a time. Once you arrive at standing, we'll inhale to reach the arms up overhead, and then exhale, draw the hands to the heart center. From here, let's inhale, reach the arms up overhead, And then on your next exhale, bring the right hand down to your side and reach the left fingertips up and over for a side bend. You might send your gaze down towards the ground or switch it up towards the left fingertips. On the next inhale, we'll bring the right hand back up, and then exhale, switching sides. Bring the left hand down, reach the right fingertips overhead. And then when you're ready, we'll come back to center. Exhale, cactus the arms, drawing the shoulder blades together, and maybe stick out the tongue for lion's breath. Releasing any tension in the jaw, in the temples. And then we'll inhale, reach the arms back up overhead, and exhale to circle sweep the arms down, leading with the heart to come into forward fold. From here, we'll inhale for halfway lift, exhale to forward fold, and then you can step your right foot back. You might bring your hands onto blocks or onto the mat. So this is going to be a challenging pose. It can either be made a little gentler. You're either going to do crescent moon or warrior one. And the difference is if you're keeping your back heel lifted. So if you like the more challenging pose, crescent moon, you can leave that right heel lifted. And if you'd like to make it a little gentler, you can lower the back heel. So you're bending into your left knee, and then we'll inhale to come up, lifting the arms for either warrior one or crescent moon. With the next exhale, you can float the arms back behind you and bring the torso forward to hover, drawing the belly towards the spine, engaging the core, keeping a soft, gentle gaze. And then inhale, lifting the arms up, lifting the heart. Let's do that 2 more times on this side. Exhale, flying the arms back. Inhale, reaching them up through center. And 1 more time. From here, let's all lower the right heel, and then you're going to pivot so your back foot is parallel with the back of the mat, and you can float the arms forward and back to find warrior two. So now your hips are more squared towards the side, but you can float your gaze over the front fingertips. We're going to try a balancing pose here called half moon pose. So go ahead and bring your right hand to your hip. And this is going to be easier if you have a block. So you might even pick up a block. And on the highest setting, we're going to set the block right out in front. And then you can walk that right foot in a little bit. And we're going to come up into balance. So you're going to stretch your right foot behind you. And you might balance on your left hand and your left foot, sending your gaze down towards the ground. Maybe you lift your right fingertips up towards the sky. With your next exhale, let's bring the hand back to the hip, the right hand to the right hip, and then slide that right foot back, and we'll find warrior two. Just playing around with balance, allowing the shoulders to melt away from the ears, allowing the gaze to stretch over the front fingertips. With your next inhale, let's spin the left hand up, reach the right hand down towards the right thigh. for peaceful warrior. On the next exhale, you can windmill both hands down towards your blocks or the ground. Pivot onto the ball of the right foot, and we'll step the right foot forward to meet the left. On your next exhale, forward fold. And on your next inhale, we'll halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. And then when you're ready, you can bend the knees and roll the spine up one vertebrae at a time. Inhale to reach the arms up overhead. And exhale to slide them to the heart center. Just take a moment here, maybe releasing your hands to your sides, finding strength and stability in mountain pose. Feeling your feet grounded on the earth. You might slightly tuck the tailbone, draw the navel towards the spine. Allow the shoulders to melt away from the ears. And then when you're ready, we'll blink the eyes open. Inhale to reach the arms up overhead. Exhale to swan dive forward. You might land your hands on your shins or your blocks, and then inhale for halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. And we're going to try that same sequence on the opposite side. So with your hands either on the ground or on blocks, I like them on blocks on the high setting, you're going to slide the left foot back, bending into the right knee. You can stay on the ball of the left foot, or if you'd like a little more support, go ahead and spin the heel down of the left foot. Whenever you're ready, we'll inhale to rise through center for either crescent moon or warrior one. With your next exhale, you can slide the hands down behind you and float the torso forward. Inhale to rise through center. Exhale, release the hands, float the torso forward. Inhale to rise through center. And exhale one more time, floating the arms back. Inhale to come back to center. And this time we're going to pivot so that you're bringing your heel down and your back foot is parallel with the back of the mat. You might even adjust a little bit your feet by bringing the front foot over, bending into the front knee, and then floating the hands forward and back for warrior two. So this time your hip points are pointing to the left, and you can send your gaze over your right fingertips. We're going to try the half moon pose on this side. And so there can be lots of different variations. I forgot to mention, if you have a wall space handy, you can also do this against the wall. So I'm going to bring my left hand to the left hip. Reach the right fingertips out in front. And you might find a block to rest your hand on. You can shimmy that left foot in a little bit. And then whenever you're ready, you're going to step that block out in front, lift the back heel, and just try and find balance as best you can. You might stretch the left arm up towards the sky. Maybe you keep your gaze down, or if you'd like to challenge your balance more, you could lift your gaze up towards your left fingertips. Whenever you're ready, you're going to step that left foot back down. You can bring your left hand to your hip And then we'll come back up to find warrior two. Whenever you're ready, on your next exhale, release your left hand down towards the back of your leg. Reach the right hand up. And see if you can send a blessing to someone special. On the next exhale, we'll windmill the hands down. You can come up onto the ball of your left foot. And then whenever you're ready, step forward to a forward fold. We'll inhale for halfway lift. And exhale to forward fold. On the next inhale, let's rise through center. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart center. And then whenever you're ready, we'll inhale to reach the arms up overhead. Exhale to swan dive forward. Inhale for halfway lift. And exhale to forward fold. Go ahead and plant your palms, maybe on your blocks. Step your feet back to find down dog. And then we'll be making our way onto our seat. From here, your knees might be up towards the sky, your feet on the ground in front of you. And you can reach the arms out long past the knees. You can stay right here engaging with the core, or maybe you bring your hands behind your thighs and start to float the feet up for boat pose. You can keep holding onto the thighs, or maybe you extend the arms here. And just find a nice steady breath in boat. Whenever you're ready, we'll land the feet and then slide the back down to the mat. You can bring the knees into the chest, giving yourself a nice big hug. Send yourself gratitude for all of the effort you put forth today. Remember that just as you are complete. You might find happy baby pose by reaching up for the ankles, the shins, maybe the knife edge of the outside of the foot. And maybe you gently rock from side to side, extending one leg long and rocking onto the other side, extending the opposite leg long. And just allow yourself to smile warmly upon this childlike shape, remembering the inner child, finding that kindness, patience, and compassion. And whenever you're ready, we'll find our final resting pose, Shavasana, extending the legs long, allowing the arms to rest at your sides. You can start to soften the forehead, smooth out the eyelids. Relax the hinge of your jaw. Soften your shoulders away from your ears. And send that relaxation all the way down the body, throughout the limbs. Imagining the earth is rising to meet you. Imagine any thoughts that might creep in, just like passing clouds. So unique, so beautiful, Just allow them to float by. You're welcome to continue to rest for as long as you'd like in your Shavasana. This book that I've been reading from, The Yamas and the Niyamas, has a really amazing quote by a woman named Etty Hillesum, who is a young Holocaust victim. Ultimately, we have one moral duty: to reclaim large areas of peace in ourselves, more and more peace, and to reflect it towards others. And the more peace there is in us, the more peace there will also be in our troubled world. You're welcome to begin to reawaken the body from your Shavasana, maybe starting to invite gentle movement into your fingers and toes, rotating the wrists and the ankles. Maybe you find a good morning stretch, reaching your arms up past your ears. Whenever you're ready, you can roll onto one side and come up to a seat. You might invite your hands to meet at your heart center and allow your head to bow towards the wisdom of your loving heart. It's such an honor and a privilege to guide you through your practice this morning. Thank you, everyone, for being here today.